Good afternoon, everyone. Myself, C.A. Raj Chawla, Vice Chairman, MSME and the Startup Committee of ICI. Welcome you all into this today topic on tax planning for MSME and the startup ups, issues and nuances. Tax is an important aspect of the business and it impacts the success and sustainability of small and medium enterprises. In our daily jobs or practice, we deal with tax compliance, timely discharge of tax liability and litigation. As the engines of innovation and economic growth, MSME and startup faces unique challenges in complexity of tax regulation. Though this webinar, our speaker will not only focus on the fundamentals of tax planning, but also delve into the practical strategies to ensure adherence to compliance requirements, mitigate risk associated with the litigation, and discharge tax liability efficiently. Together, let us navigate through these challenges and opportunities of tax planning for MSME and startup, setting the course for financial success and prosperity. I am sure that today's webinar will be a valuable learning experience for all of us, enabling us to enhance our capabilities for startup and MSMEs. I am sure that today's webinar will be a valuable learning experience for all of us, enabling us to enhance the capability of startup and MSME. For valuable insight into the subject, we are honored to have our speaker for today webinar, CA Sunil Garji, and coordinator CA Mayur Ashok Dawarji, who will provide expert guidance on this topic. So, wish you a great learning. Over to Mayurji.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Thank you. First of all, thank you, Vice Chairman of Committee of MSME and Startup for gracing this session and giving your welcome remarks for the session. Thank you, sir. Very warm welcome to our today's faculty and guest speaker, CA Sunil Garg. I think today's exciting session on tax planning for MSME and startup issues and nuances. We all know that the world of business, especially for our innovative startups and dynamic MSMEs, navigating the tax landscape can feel like trying to solve the Rubik's cube in the dark sometimes. And who is better to guide us through this maze than our very own tax guru? Think of him as a doctor who can cure all our tax rules with a prescription of solid tax. We are incredibly fortunate to have with us C.S. Sunil Garg, a true legend in the field of taxation. C.S. Sunil Garg, who qualified as a chartered in 1992, is a beacon of knowledge and expertise in taxation, auditing, and consultancy services for over 30 years. His practice, based in Gurgaon, Delhi, Faridabad, has set a benchmark in the industry. C.A. Garg ji is not only just a tax expert, he's a superstar in the world of taxation. His regular face on national news channels like Z Business, Rajya Sabha, CNB Awaz, Z News, and many more, where he shares his insight on popular shows like Money Guru and Tax Mantra. Friends, you know they always say that there are two certainties in life: death and taxes. Well, Sunil sir can't help with the former, but he's certainly the go-to guy for the latter. Having presented over 500 webinars, seminars, and tax shows, his expertise is unparalleled. His articles and viewpoint on complex taxation issues, including succession, planning, private and charitable trusts, BEPS, and taxation on joint development agreements, are widely respected and published. And above all, his remarkable contribution by way of taking a webathon for decoding the income tax law consisting of 50 webinars was very well acknowledged by the whole community. We are indeed privileged to have Sir C.S. Sunil sir here with us today to simplify the complexity of tax planning for startups and MSMEs. So without further ado, let's welcome the Doctor of Taxation himself, C.S. Sunil Garg. Sir, the floor is yours. We are all ears and ready to learn from you. I'll request participation to just give a welcome remark in the comment and let's start the session. Thank you, sir. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mayur. Thanks for the nice words. First of all, my gratitude to the MSME and Startup Committee Chairman, Dheeraj Kandewalji, in absentia, Vice Chairman, Dr. C. A. Raj Chawla, committee members, my dear colleagues, friends, professional colleagues. First of all, thanks to the MSME and Startup Committee doing a very great job. MSME ki Pathsala and startups that learning program every Friday 2 to 4, and I think this is the 12th in the series. Mayuru reminded me of the webathon we conducted in 2021, and it was an exciting experience. We conducted decoding income tax law from section 1 to section 298. I think this was first in the time. We covered all the sections and very prominent speakers, they were there, and topic wise they deliberated on various subjects, and that webathon are being used by so many professors till today.
And in fact, it helped to figure out new talent in our ecosystem also. That was the great objective here.
Duty has been cast upon me today to talk about the tax planning aspects of the MSME and startup mainly. Friends, as you know, this MSME and startups, they are the backbone of the Indian economy, and not only Indian economy, any economy in the world depends on the MSME because they are the job providers. Do you know more than 10 crore persons are being employed by MSME? Do you know around 45% of our exports are being done by MSME? And once our vice chairman was telling me that when we started MSME Yatra last year, the total registration were around 1 crore. And after that Yatra, the registration shoot up like anything. And now it's around 2 crore. I do not had the exact figure, but it's boosting. Second is the aspect of the startups. It's a very new area of practice. Very, very new area of practice. Startup India started in 2015, and it was a dream project of our Honorable Prime Minister of India, Shri Narendra Modi ji. And a very exciting results has come. Not only a new practice of area, I will tell you. I will come on the valuation rules, how the tax planning has to be done, how share has to be transferred, how investments come, and what are the nuances of section 56 to 7B, how to take the tax exemption under ATI, what are the practical aspects. But what is the strength of the startups? You know, in 2015, we were having only 2 unicorn, and a unicorn is which valued more than a billion, 8,000 crore rupees. But in 2024, we have more than 125 unicorn. We are the third largest ecosystem of the startup throughout the world. And our young generation, our entrepreneurs are doing a very great job in startup. And so the government of India has given so many benefits, tax benefits for the startups mainly. But all those tax benefits are to be used diligently because any flaw, any negligence, any violation of rule, you may land in a lot of trouble and a lot of taxes. So in today's webinar, what we are going to do, I will take the exemptions given to the startup and how to plan them, how to take the advantage. But before that, let me share my screen.
There may be green icon, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, this one.
No, now just select the presentation. Open the presentation first in your desktop.
Okay. I have to open it first.
Is the PPT is open, sir?
Yes, yes.
Great. So now here you can just click share screen on the Zoom meeting.
Is it visible now?
Yeah, it's visible. Just click on the slide preview icon. On the top left corner also there is an icon.
I made it now.
सर आपको वो आइकॉन दिख रहा है लास्ट टॉप कॉर्नर में?
किस पे? स्लाइड पीपीटी में?
हाँ, ऊपर दिखिए ना, वो मेन्यू बार में जो है ना एकदम कॉर्नर पे दिखिए सर, आप टॉप कॉर्नर पे
फाइल, होम, इंसर्ट, डिजाइन, ट्रांजैक्शन, एनिमेशन,
उसके
स्लाइड।
इंसर्ट के ऊपर सर देखिए एक आइकॉन है, छोटा सा आइकॉन है।
माउस मोड, स्टार्ट फ्रॉम बिगनिंग।
हाँ वो, यस, उस पर क्लिक करिए सर आप।
हो गया सर?
आई थिंक सर जैसे सर बता रहे हैं, आप पहले इसको स्टॉप शेयर कर दीजिए।
ये स्टॉप शेयर किया।
हाँ, अब आप सर वापस से फाइल ओपन करके उसको स्लाइड शेयर पहले ला लीजिए, फिर शेयर स्क्रीन करिए, ऐसे ही ना सर?
Go to presentation, then on the left, file, home, insert, design, transition, animation, slide show पे क्लिक करो।
यस।
करा। press alt, shift, alt plus tab। हाँ, ओके।
सर डायरेक्टली जूम से ही बताइए ना, जूम में आके भी सर कर लेंगे तो हो जाएगा शायद ना?
जूम में जाके कैसे होगा?
सर नाउ शेयर योर स्क्रीन, लेट्स सी।
मैं इसको एक्चुअली बंद करता हूँ, जूम में जाता हूँ, शेयर स्क्रीन। Is it visible now?
फुल व्यू नहीं आ रहा है सर। हाँ करिए सर क्लिक उसे, फ्रॉम द बिगिनिंग।
नहीं हो रहा?
कंटिन्यू सर, प्लीज कंटिन्यू, इट्स विजिबल, यू कैन कंटिन्यू, नो प्रॉब्लम।
So
Tech team, let's continue, that will be better now. Okay, carry on sir, please।
Is now it's visible, Mayur?
Yeah, it's visible, sir. It's visible.
So it's bullet point general. यही है slide.
सर उसको आप नेक्स्ट स्लाइड पे ये करिए सर, कर्सर से आप मूव करिए नेक्स्ट स्लाइड, या
This screen is showing 3 important terms.
नो सर, दैट स्क्रीन इज नॉट कमिंग. हाँ सर, कमिंग.
Your screen is showing stop share, display setting, yes. Duplicate slide show. नहीं हो रहा click. गीता, अरे वो नहीं हो रहा फिर स्लाइड. ना ये आपको पीपीटी नजर आ रही है, नहीं आ रही सर?
सर नजर आ रही है, पर दो स्क्रीन नजर आ रही है एक साथ. ठीक है.
एंड स्लाइड शो.
मैडम जब आपने जैसे किया था ना, प्रेजेंटेशन मोड करके फिर स्क्रीन शेयर किया.
स्क्रीन शेयरिंग इज पॉज्ड. ये बैकएंड से भी पॉज किया था.
मैडम क्लिक ऑन शेयर स्क्रीन. या मैडम, जस्ट कंटिन्यू. On the keyboard there is left and right keys. You can use it to move the slide. Okay, up down.
Now it's okay. It's visible.
Yes sir, yes.
Okay. Sorry, friends. Sorry. We are not so tech savvy, na?
No problem sir. Okay, go ahead, sir.
Okay. So, friends, in this webinar, what we are going to do. First of all, I will tell you the basics of the startup registration. Basics, only basic. I will just touching it because you might be having so many webinar about it, and then we'll come to three basic exemptions. Section 80 IAC, how to claim it, and what are the nuances there. Then 5627B, and after the recent amendment by Finance Act 2023, where the resident as well as non-resident has been included, and circular dated 26th May 2023 valuation rules, and what are the nuances there. Then section 79, how to claim it. So first of all, as I said, this Startup India started in 2015. And if we see the definition of startup, eligible business, it's very interesting now. And that's why I say every startup is a new business, but every new business is not a startup. And you have to fulfill certain eligibility criteria to be a startup. Secondly, startup can be a firm, it can be a LLP, or it can be a company. And if you ask me, even a proprietary firm can be a startup as per the Startup India. But to get the benefit of Section 80 IAC, you should either be a LLP or a company, because firms are specially excluded from the definition of Section 80 IAC. We will see the regulating authorities, Department of Promotion of Internal Trade and Industries, Industries and Internal Trade, Ministry of Commerce, and you have to get the registration with DPIIT. There are three kinds of registration with DPIIT. First is the basic startup registration, that is recognized startup. Then you have to apply for ATIAC, and then a 5627B registration. Three kinds of registrations are to be done with DPIIT. So it's very interesting. Who is eligible to be registered as a startup? This definition, Mayur, has been amended so many times, but this final definition has come. Now, eligible business means a business carried out by any eligible startup engaged in innovation, development, or improvement of any product, process, or services, or a scalable business model with a high potential of employment generation and wealth creation. Friends, as I said, every new business can be a startup. Any new idea can be a startup. Earlier, हम सोचते थे कि स्टार्टअप का मतलब है कि some technocrat, some tech savvy, but with this definition, the scope has been widened so many times. Even a construction company can be a startup. Three basic conditions: there has to be an innovation, development, improvement of any product, process, or service, or a scalable business model with high potential of employment, of generation and wealth creation. It means that there are four conditions. If you are having a business model which is scalable business model, for example, Zomato, what they are doing? They are getting orders from you and supplying the material from the restaurants. What Uber is doing, they have developed this is a scalable business model that leads to high employment and wealth creation. Why I'm stressing on these points? Because when you go for the registration, they ask you 5 questions. And you have to prove how your business model is a scalable business model. You should fall within the 4 categories. But there has to be an improvement, there has to be a development or an innovation. Startup doesn't mean only innovative, or doesn't mean only with innovation. If there is improvement in the process, development of a process or a service or product, or even if we can prove before the committee that it's a scalable business model with high potential of employment generation and wealth creation, friends, then you are a eligible startup. Please keep this definition in your mind throughout this webinar, because this definition is going to be a very important definition. So in addition to this, means any startup who is carrying business as an eligible business, as I said, second condition is the turnover should be less than 100 crore. And it should be incorporated after 1st April 2016. सवाल ये उठता है कि जो स्टार्टअप 1 अप्रैल 2016 से पहले है, because now the time is 10 years. You can be a startup up to 10 years. Now, 2 questions arises. Number 1, if my turnover crosses 100 crore, what will happen? Whether I will remain in the category of startup or not? The answer is no. Once you are out, you are out. Are you getting me? Mayur?
Yes,
Somebody
sir.
request you please remain on screen so that otherwise this thing I am talking to a...
No, sir. No.
Yeah, okay, please. Thank you. 3 basic conditions. You have to get the registration with DPIIT. Number 1, you should be an eligible business. You should be having a eligible business. Turnover should be less than 100 crore. And third, for ATIAC, you should be incorporated after 1st April 2016. Now, 2 questions arises. Suppose any startup has been registered in 2015. Will it be a startup? Of course, it will be a startup, but it will not be a startup for ATIAC. Second question arises, my turnover crosses 100 crore once, then I come back to less than 100 crore. Whether I will again enter back to the startup, answer is no. Once you are out, you are out. And third condition, you have to have a interministerial group certificate. And please friend understand, there are 4 tax benefits given. ESOP taxation, special treatment for the startup. Everybody knows. Employee stock option plan, there is a section 192 1C has been introduced. 5627B, angel tax, ATIAC, and section 79 carry forward of loans. Except section 5627B. This IMG certificate is not required for 5627B startup. Please understand. 4 में से 3 जो sections हैं 17 to 6 ESOP taxation के लिए तभी आप eligible होंगे, तब IMG certificate होगा. ATIAC तभी मिलेगा जब IMG certificate आपके पास होगा. 79 का लॉस आपको तभी कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर पाएंगे तब आप IMG का सर्टिफिकेट होगा. लेकिन 56 to 7B के लिए IMG सर्टिफिकेट जरूरी नहीं है. उसकी अलग कंडीशंस हैं. You have to fill a form 2 and give certain declarations. I will come to that. So first, you should be a startup for ATIAC registered after 2016. You will remain startup within 10 years of your incorporation. But if you crosses 100 crore of your turnover, you cease to be remain as a startup. And the most important is you should carry on a eligible business. And eligible business, as I said, it is improvement, development, innovation of any product, process or service, or scalable business model with high employment employment generation and wealth creation. These are general benefits to the startups. You might have so many sessions on this. What are the tax incentive? I am going to have a deliberation on this. Self-certification and labor and environment law, subsidy for patent registration, trademark, funds for financing. SIDBI funds of funds scheme, very important scheme. Even you can practice in that area. More than 17,000 crore funds has been generated by SIDBI funds of funds scheme. And startup gets preferences in the public procurement norms. And of course, technical support by DPIT through incubation centers. There are so many incubation centers in India now. You can get in touch with them, and a technical support, a hand-holding has been given by these incubation centers. Basic data about startup. Why I'm telling you, young friends, this is a very new area of practice. You can have a very good practice in startup ecosystem. DPIIT recognized startup is more than 1,35,000 now. But Surprisingly, tax exemption under Section 80 IAC, latest data is only 1137. So you can guide your clients to have 80 IAC exemptions. I will touch upon that. SIDBI Fund of Funds scheme, as I said, it started with 10,000 crore of funds corpus, mobilized more than 17.5 crore of investment, 1,000 crore, and funded more than 18 UT unicorn. Basics, how to get the registration, you have to file a form with Startup India. But the important thing is, while filing that form, you are being asked 5 questions, and these 5 questions relate to how you fulfill the criteria of innovation, development, improvement of any product, process, or service. Friends, again, I am telling you, now everything can be a startup. Every idea, every new idea, any innovation, any improvement is idea. The moot question is how you represent yourself, how you represent your client before the Startup India. So coming to tax planning aspects, these are the basics. So 5 tax benefits are being given to a startup. One is Section 80 IAC, that's corporate tax holiday, Section 80 IAC. Relief from angel tax, I will come to that. Carry forward and set off of losses due to change in shareholding, Section 79. That is very important, ESOP taxation. With the introduction of Section 192(1)(c, now usually in ESOP taxation, they have not deferred the taxability of the event. Taxable kar diya, but deferment of tax is there. I will give in detail how to carry forward that and reduce rate at the rate of 10% to royalty on patent and Section 115.
This is very important considering the liquidity factor in many of the startups. This can be used as a very good tool for planning.
So coming to Section 80 IAC and what are the nuances there? This starts with where the gross total of an assessee, eligible assessee or eligible startup, includes any profit and gains derived from eligible business. So there are 3 things. Number 1, it should be an eligible assessee. As I said, eligible assessee are either company or a LLP. Firm is not included. So while suggesting your client, please ensure that either you incorporate LLP or a company format. Otherwise, you're not getting to get this. Though as per Income Tax Act, LLP and firms are being placed at the same level. But for 80 IAC, firm are not eligible. Now, who are a eligible startup? 3 basic conditions, as I said, you should be less than 100 crore turnover, incorporated after 1st April 2016, and you have a certificate of interministerial group. This is the definition of eligible startup. And who are eligible business? As I said, who are covered in the broader definition of improvement, development, innovation of any product, process, or service. But please understand, you will get the deduction only for the profit and gains from the eligible business. If you are having any other income, that is not eligible for deduction under Section 80 IAC. That will be taxed at the normal rate. Deduction is for the income from the eligible business only. And third, earlier it was 7 years. Now the time limit has been increased from 7 to 10 years. But 3 consecutive years. This is very important. 3 consecutive years means you can choose 0, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 5, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 8, 9, 10. बट यू कैन नॉट डू लाइक दैट कि आपने 1 साल ले लिया, आपको लगा कि इस बार तो लॉस है, अब लॉस हो गया तो छोड़ दूं. नहीं, ऐसा नहीं है. एनी 3 consecutive years. तो इसका मतलब ये हुआ when you are planning tax, you have to make sure, number 1, my turnover doesn't exceed 100 crore. 10 year I do not doesn't cross 10 years, and which are the best 3 years where I can claim deductions. It is not necessary you have to start from first year. No, you can start from the third year. You can start from the fourth year. And this is the part of your tax planning. Additional conditions, as always there in section 80IA, 80IB, we have seen, it should not be formed by splitting up or reconstruction of business already in existence. Or if machinery are being shifted, it should be less than 20%. General conditions of 80IA. But this is very important. We generally do not keep these 5 conditions in mind. And this comes from section 80IA, because 80IAC said, now follow that section 80IA. Number 1, as I said, the eligible source of the eligible business is to get the exemption, to get the deduction, otherwise no. Second, MAT is applicable. There is no exemption from the MAT. And third, the transactions with the sister concern, related party, should be at the arm's length wise. This is the area where we lack, and generally, every company wants to have more profit in the eligible business, where the exemptions is there or deduction is there. So please ensure that with related party, it should be at the arm's length price. Otherwise, your deductions might go. And to get the registration under Action 80IAC, you have to give certain documents. You have to fill the form with Startup India, separate form. In the first step, you get the registration. पहले आपको registration करवाना है. उसके बाद आपको 80IAC के लिए separate form बनना होता है, form number 1. वहाँ पे आपसे वो सारे documents मांगते हैं, और फिर interministerial group से उसकी approval आती है. Any questions if we have on 80IAC, we can take up those questions. Otherwise, I will be moving to section 56.
Sir, I think we need more elaboration on 80IAC. Why there is a challenge of not issuing the certificate in this category? What is the? Can you elaborate on that factor? Because just 1100 registrations have been granted till now by.
We also take up the matter with the Ministry of Finance, the committee also. And the challenge is, number 1, the peoples are not aware how to file that form. They are making a lot of mistakes. Their pitch deck, their documentation, their business plans are not good. As we talked with the secretary, DPIIT secretary, but they are not giving their business plan in an appropriate manner. Because first, as I said, when you go for the first registration, you have to prove that you are eligible business, you are having an eligible business. Secondly, when you go for the 80IAC, number 1, generally they avoid giving 80IAC in the first year. वो कहते हैं कि आप परफॉर्म करके लाइए, उसके बाद हम आपको देंगे. दूसरा, आपको जो पिच डेक देना है, जो बिजनेस प्लान देना है, दैट शुड बी एलिजिबल बिजनेस प्लान, दैट शुड बी अचीवेबल बिजनेस प्लान. हम लोग जब बिजनेस प्लान देते हैं तो उसका बड़ा रोजी पिक्चर देते हैं, और जब वहां पर वो उसको, क्योंकि इंटरमिनिस्ट्रियल ग्रुप में उसको जाना होता है और उसको लगता है कि ये मतलब बिजनेस प्लान ठीक नहीं है, तो इसलिए उसको वापस कर देते हैं. और इसलिए आपको जब बिजनेस प्लान देना है तो वो पिच डेक जो देना है, दैट शुड बी वेरी गुड पिच डेक, good business plan. It should be practical business plan.
That so is one quick question here itself. Whether it is mandatory to have a patent filed solution for 80IB, or this is suggestive?
No, it is not necessary. I don't think in 80IAC you should have a patent file. No. We got a lot of 80IAC registration. ऐसा condition नहीं है वहाँ पर. लेकिन जो मैंने बताया, प्रैक्टिकल प्रॉब्लम यही आती है कि लोग उसको जो फॉर्म को फिल करते हैं, जो बिजनेस प्लान लगाते हैं, जो अपने आइडियाज देते हैं, वो आइडियाज या तो बहुत ज्यादा रोजी होते हैं या बहुत ज्यादा ग्लूमी होते हैं. दे आर नॉट हैविंग अ प्रैक्टिकल अप्रोच. दिस इज द फीडबैक वी आर गेटिंग फ्रॉम द मिनिस्ट्री.
ओके, Noted, sir. Noted.
Second benefit given to the startups is employee stock option plan, taxability of the ESOP. As you know, there is section 17(2)(6). एक और बात बताता हूं आपको, there are 4 sections where the valuation of share issue will come. 4 सेक्शन में आता है सर, 50 कैपिटल CA, 56 to 10, जहां पे आपको फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू शेयर्स की देनी है, ठीक है ना, 56 to 7B or 17 to 6. And you will be surprised to know the valuation norms for every section is different.
Oh,
Valuation norms for every section different. This is the crux. जो वैल्यूएशन 17 to 6 के लिए है वो 56 to 7D के लिए नहीं है, जो 56 to 7D के लिए वो 56 to 10 के लिए नहीं है, जो 56 to 7D के लिए 50 कैपिटल CA के लिए नहीं है. रूल 11 UA है लेकिन उसके अलग अलग पार्ट्स हैं. तो ये हमें ध्यान से समझना है कि फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू कैसे डिसाइड करना है शेयर्स का. As you know, a lot of companies offers sweet equity to their employees, ESOP, employee stock option plan. और होता क्या है?
even to mentors.
Yeah, of course. 17 to 6 simply says the value of any specified security sweet equity allotted or transferred directly, indirectly by the employer or former employer free of cost or the concession. देखिए सिंपल सी बात समझिए, ESOP में होता क्या है? There are 5 stages. First stage is granting, then vesting, exercising, allotment and transfer of shares. आपके एम्प्लॉय ने आपसे कहा कि साहब आप 2 साल बाद आप ESOP के लिए एलिजिबल हो जाएंगे. आपको एक्सरसाइज की पावर दे दी. जब आप एक्सरसाइज करते हैं, लेकिन टैक्सेबिलिटी कब आएगी? जब आपको अलॉटमेंट ऑफ शेयर्स होती है. वैल्यूएशन कब करनी है? जब आपकी एक्सरसाइज आपने ऑप्शन प्लान की है. और कैपिटल गेन कब लगेगा? जब आप ट्रांसफर ऑफ शेयर करते हैं. मान लीजिए आपकी कंपनी की फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू 200 रुपए है, आपको शेयर दे दिया 50 रुपए में, तो 150 रुपए दैट इज द परचेज्ड वैल्यू इन 17 to 6. बाद में जब उस सेक्शन को आप शेयर्स को बेचते हैं, मान लीजिए आपने 400 रुपए में बेचा, तो बाकी 200 रुपए आपको कैपिटल गेन देना. दिस इज द जनरल प्लान ऑफ ESOP. अब इसमें 2-3 बातें आती है. नंबर 1 बात कि आपको वैल्यूएशन फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू की कब लेनी है, परचेज वैल्यू कब लगेगी आपको. क्योंकि एम्प्लॉइज के हाथ में जब परचेज वैल्यू लगती थी तो एम्प्लॉइज कहते थे कि हमें कैश नहीं मिला, हमें पैसा नहीं मिला, तो इसलिए 192(1) उसको डेफर किया. लेकिन डेफर किसके लिए किया? केवल एलिजिबल स्टार्टअप हु आर रजिस्टर्ड अंडर सेक्शन 80 IAC. सब स्टार्टअप को नहीं है बेनिफिट. और वो जो स्टार्टअप, जैसे मैंने बताया कि 80 IAC में तो केवल 1137 है, तो ESOP का बेनिफिट आपको तभी मिलेगा जब आप 80 IAC में रजिस्टर्ड है, अदरवाइज आपको नहीं मिलेगा. टैक्स को कैसे डेफर किया 192(1) में? इसमें कहा कि अगर आप एक एलिजिबल स्टार्टअप है विच इज रजिस्टर्ड अंडर सेक्शन 80 IAC और आपको कोई ESOP आपको दिया एम्प्लॉयर ने आफ्टर 1st day of April 21, he shall deduct the tax. When he will deduct the tax? After the expiry of 48 months from the end of the relevant assessment year, at the date of sale of the specified security or sweet equity share by the assessee, from the date assessee ceases to be the employee of that company, whichever is earlier. Yani either you resign from the employment, taxability will be there. In the year when the shares are being allotted to you, it will be a taxable event. आपको tax calculation करनी है, but tax will be deferred. Your employer will deduct tax either in the following situation: either you resigned before 48 months, or you sold those shares before 48 months, or after expiry of 48 months. Are you getting my point? लेकिन इसका मतलब ये है सर कि आपको अपनी इनकम टैक्स रिटर्न में उस इनकम को दिखाना है, वो उसी साल में टैक्सेबल होगी. और टैक्स को खाली डेफर किया आपके लिए. Now the second question arises, what are the fair market value of those shares? Surprisingly, the fair market value has not been computed as per 11 UA in this case. आपको कैसे काउंट करनी है? If the shares are listed, if it is a listed entity, then average price on the date on which the option is exercised, of course. If the shares are listed on more than one stock exchange, then average price, which has the higher volume. If there is no trading, of course, in the preceding date when it was traded. And in the case of unlisted shares, it will be defined by the merchant. और merchant bank करने कैसे valuation निकालनी है वो अब there are so many n number of methods for the valuation. It can be DCF, it can be profit capitalization, it can be so other method. But as 11 UA says, if they are prescribed method in rule 3.8 for ESOP, there is no prescribed method. It has to be valued by the merchant. To sum up section 17(2)(6), in case of ESOP taxation, as you know, when the shares are allotted, it becomes taxable. But fair market value has to be taken on the date of the exercise, and it has to be determined the merchant bank. The difference between the fair market value and the price offered to you is a perquisite in the hand of the employee. Tax will be deferred to 48 months in case of employee who has exercised this ESOP, provided either he doesn't leave the employment or doesn't sell those shares. The employer will deduct tax at that time when 48 months expires or earlier events. Any question on this, sir? In chat box or?
No, all good, sir. In fact, a few questions are there. We'll take in the Q&A time last.
Okay, sir. Now coming to angel tax, that is section 56 to 7B. और बहुत सारे इश्यूज इसमें हमेशा से होते हैं, बहुत सारी दिक्कतें, बहुत सारी परेशानियां, बहुत डिबेट्स, बहुत डिस्प्यूट्स, और सरकार हर बार इसको चेंज करती है. 23 में भी चेंज किया, जहां पर रेजिडेंट की जगह एनी पर्सन को. Let us read this section word by word to get the clarity of it. Now the question arises, why this name is angel tax, number one. Why this section was brought in, and surprisingly this section was brought in फाइनेंस एक्ट 2012. 2012 में आया था, जब तो एंजल स्टार्टअप इंडिया भी नहीं था, बाद में एंजल टैक्स को नाम मिला. Why this section was brought in? This section was brought in by our honorable ex-president of India, then finance minister Shri Pranab Mukherjee ji. हो क्या रहा था? A lot of companies were issuing share at premium. Those companies who were not having any business, they were issuing share at premium. आपने 10 रुपए की फेस वैल्यू का शेयर 1000 प्रीमियम पर दे दिया, और उसके बाद में उसको 5 रुपए वापस बेच दिया. आपने 10 रुपए का शेयर 1000 में दिया, 990 रुपए आपका प्रीमियम हो गया, एंड दैट इज बीइंग अकाउंटेड एज ए शेयर इन प्रीमियम अकाउंट. तो टैक्सेबल था, कैपिटल रिसीट था कंपनी के हाथ में. और जब आप 10 रुपए का 5 रुपए बेच देते, यानी 1000 रुपए का शेयर आपने 5 रुपए बाई बैक कर लिया, तो दैट वाज ए कैपिटल लॉस इन द हैंड ऑफ दैट शेल कंपनी. दिस वाज हैपनिंग, एंड this provision was brought in as a anti-abuse provision to prevent this practice. और जिसको it was formally called as one-time anti, some concept of one-time anti like that. And this section says where a company, a closely held company in which public is not substantially interested, receives from any person. Earlier it was a resident. Now, if you are getting any money, any consideration for issue of shares from any person, resident or non-resident, any consideration for issue of share that exceeds the fair market value of such shares, the aggregate consideration received for such shares as exceeds the fair market value of the shares shall be income from other sources under section 5627B in the hands of that company. Suppose there is a company, closed company A, it issues shares, face value of share is rupees 10, fair market value is say rupees 50, issue share at rupees 90, that the difference of 90 minus 50 will be deemed to be the income in the hand of the company A. This is the crux of the shares. Now, so many questions arises from here. What are the exemptions? Who has been given exemptions from this share? Number one, how to get the valuation? फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू कैसे निकलेगी इसकी? और एक सवाल और आता है कि इफ the source of income, the source of share capital is not explained, will it be taxable under section 68 or 56 to 7? ये भी एक सवाल है. Now, two exemptions are given from the rigors of this section in proviso. This section will not be applicable, number one, where the issue of share is received from a venture capital undertaking, from a venture capital company or a venture capital fund, or by a company from class of persons as may be notified by the central government in this period. दो exemption दे दिया. If you are a venture capital undertaking and you are receiving fund from venture capital company or a venture capital fund as defined in section 1023, you are exempt. Second exemption is given to the startups. This is where this exemption has been given, and DPIIT came with a notification is number 127E on 19 February 2019. These persons are exempt from the rigors of this section. Before coming to the exemption, मतलब कैसे किसी स्टार्टअप कैसे exemption मिलेगी और valuation rules क्या है? Now see this, there is another provision. If you violate the conditions as given in section 1 in circular number 127 exemption condition, then it will be treated as a misreporting. You know, under section 270 capital A, agar misreporting hoti hai, the penalty is 200% in the year when the conditions are being violated. So if you are a startup and you are getting exemption, you are taking benefit of this circular, please ensure that there is no violation of the circular. Otherwise, you will be penalized under section 270 capital A and the penalty will be 200%. So as I said, startups have been given the benefit of this 56 to 7B exemption. Basic condition, 3 basic condition up to 10 years of incorporation, turnover is 100 crore, and you have doing eligible business, of course, you should be registered with the DPIIT. Now, if you are a recognized startup and you get the shares premium, share capital up to 25 crore, including share premium, you are exempt from the section 56 to 70. Number one condition. 25 करोड़ रुपए तक की कैपिटल अगर आप इशू कर रहे हैं विद सिक्योरिटी प्रीमियम तो आपको ये सेक्शन नहीं लगेगा. उसके अलावा if you are getting any share capital from the venture capital firm or non-resident, that amount will be excluded from 25 crore. 25 करोड़ के अलावा आपको अगर वेंचर कैपिटल फंड से कोई पैसा आ रहा है या नॉन रेजिडेंट से कोई पैसा आ रहा है, थर्ड, अगर आपको स्पेसिफाइड पर्सन से, स्पेसिफाइड कंपनी से कोई पैसा आ रहा है, शेयर कैपिटल आ रही है, वो भी 25 करोड़ में काउंट नहीं होगी। एंड हु इज ए स्पेसिफाइड कंपनी? जिसकी नेटवर्थ 100 करोड़ है, लिस्टेड कंपनी है, और जिसकी टर्नओवर 2.5 करोड़ से ज्यादा है। इट शुड बी लिस्टेड कंपनी, नेटवर्थ मोर देन 100 करोड़ एंड turnover more than 250 crore. Meaning thereby that, suppose if you get a share capital of 100 crore rupees, out of 100 crore, if 75 crore is from the venture capital fund, you are exempt. 75 crore from the listed company, specified company, you are exempt. 75 crore from the non-resident, you are exempt. इन तीनों के अलावा आपके पास 25 करोड़ कहीं से भी आता है तो आपको ये सेक्शन नहीं लगेगा। लेकिन you have to give a declaration to the DPIIT that number one,
I think by mistake it seems exit पे click हो गया. I'll request tech team to coordinate with sir to rejoin the meeting. I'll request members to just wait for a few minutes. I think there is some technical glitch and Sunil sir is going to join immediately. A very good interactive session is being taken by him. In fact, let's take the optimum advantage of this session. Hello members, just got the message. So sir is joining in quick time. The technical glitch has been resolved. Just bear with us. Yes sir, welcome. Yes sir, the screen is visible. You can unmute yourself sir. Yes sir. Slide number. Yeah.
Sorry, friends.
No problem. Yes sir.
Okay. So, friends, basic two exemptions are given. Number one, now this section has been applicable to every person being resident or non-resident. ये ध्यान रखने वाली बात है. नॉन रेजिडेंट के लिए एक सर्कुलर नंबर 29 अब सरकार ने निकाला है, जहां पर 21 कंट्रीज के एंटिटीज को और कुछ गवर्नमेंट फंड्स को एग्जेम्प्ट किया है. लेकिन स्टार्टअप के लिए जो एग्जेम्पशन दी है उसमें नॉन रेजिडेंट इंक्लूड नहीं है अभी भी. आर यू गेटिंग माय पॉइंट? जो सर्कुलर नंबर 127 है उसके लिए ये सेक्शंस देखिए 56 टू 70 सब पे लगता है. आप स्टार्टअप को छोड़ दीजिए, आम कंपनी जो आम लोग भी जो देते हैं, बिकॉज दिस सेक्शन वाज नॉट ब्रॉट इन फॉर स्टार्टअप, दिस सेक्शन वाज ब्रॉट इन फॉर द जनरल कंपनी, normal companies. But when Startup India started, they give a exemption, special exemption under white notification number 127E. और उसमें कह दिया कि साहब आपको 3 कंडीशन पूरी करनी है. नंबर 1, आपको बेसिक 3 कंडीशन 10 साल वाली, 100 करोड़ वाली और रजिस्ट्रेशन वाली. उसके अलावा आप 25 करोड़ रुपए तक की आप ले आइए सिक्योरिटी प्रीमियम, हम आपसे सवाल नहीं पूछेंगे. इसके अलावा उन्होंने कह दिया कि आपको वेंचर कैपिटल फंड से कोई पैसा आता है तो, आपको नॉन रेजिडेंट से पैसा कोई आता है तो, या स्पेसिफाइड कंपनी से कोई पैसा आता है तो 25 करोड़ की लिमिट में नहीं है. नाउ सेकंड क्वेश्चन इज अबाउट द वैल्यूएशन, कि हाउ टू गेट द वैल्यूएशन. जैसे मैंने शुरू में भी कहा था, वैल्यूएशन हैज टू बी डन एज पर द रूल प्रिस्क्राइब्ड. रूल प्रिस्क्राइब्ड इज 16 रूल 11 UA, but the section also provides that if you can substantiate it to the assessing officer, to the satisfaction of the assessing officer, keeping in view the assets of the company, goodwill, etc., that can value can also be accepted. देखिए 11 UA रूल से आप वैल्यूएशन करवा लीजिए. अभी तक 11 UA रूल में या तो नेट बुक वैल्यू था या DCF मेथड था. अभी 5 वैल्यूएशन के मेथड और जोड़ दिए जब से नॉन रेजिडेंट के लिए एप्लीकेबल किया है. क्योंकि नॉन रेजिडेंट के लिए 1 अप्रैल 23 के बाद जो एप्लीकेबल किया तो 5 वैल्यूएशन के मेथड उसमें और जोड़ दिए. लेकिन इसके अलावा आप अगर किसी वैल्यूएशन मेथड से टू द सेटिस्फेक्शन ऑफ असेसिंग ऑफिसर बता सकते हैं कि साहब दिस इज माय वैल्यूएशन, नॉट फॉलिंग इन द परव्यू ऑफ 11 यूए। ये लोग गलतफहमी है कि 11 यूए में अगर वैल्यूएशन नहीं है, डीसीएफ मेथड से नहीं है, तो क्या हम दूसरा मेथड नहीं लगा सकते? बिल्कुल लगा सकते हैं जी। सेक्शन इटसेल्फ प्रोवाइड्स, if you think that my valuation is either not by DCF, not by net asset value, then you can have your own value, but to the satisfaction of the assessing officer. This is very important. Now, as I said in the beginning, valuation of shares have different aspects for different sections. अगर आप 11 UA की बात करते हैं, if I talk about 11 UA, it has two parts. For section 56 to 10 and 50 capital CA, the rules are different. For 56 to 7B, the rules are different. The amendment which was brought in by circular number 29 is for 56 to 7B, not for the first 56 to 10 or 56 50 capital C. अब एक सवाल उठता है मयूर जी कई बार कि मान लीजिए आपने एक कंपनी ने राइट इशू भी दिया और फ्रेश इशू भी दिया, यानी प्राइमरी इशू भी दिया, सेकंड इशू भी दिया। तो प्राइमरी इशू के लिए आपको वैल्यूएशन रूल लगेगा 11 यूए वाला, डीसीएफ मेथड से या नेट एसेट वैल्यू से। लेकिन सेकेंडरी इशू के लिए किसका लगेगा? 56 टू 10 में, जहां पे आपको बताया है कि साहब आप वैल्यूएशन कैसे करेंगे। आप 4 एसेट्स की वैल्यू को पहले निकाल लेंगे, नेट एसेट वैल्यू से नहीं करनी है, आपको लैंड बिल्डिंग की वैल्यू उसमें निकाल देनी है, आपको इमोल प्रॉपर्टी, आपको शेयर एंड सिक्योरिटीज की वैल्यूएशन निकाल दीजिए, उसको रिप्लेस करो फेयर मार्केट वैल्यू से, तब आप वैल्यूएशन निकालो। तो कंपनी issuing shares on the same date may have different valuation rule for two different class of shares. Are you getting?
Many time, I think many time it is ignored during the course of compliance. Generally, startup or even founders think that this one valuation which we have taken is sufficient to cover all my compliance. This is
No, nothing like that.
Thank you for bringing to notice for all of us.
Now, how to determine the valuation for 56 to fair market value for 56 to 70? As I said, there are two ways. Number one, as per rule 11 UA, number one. And number two, I am again repeating it. You can have a different valuation method provided to the satisfaction of the assessing officer. It has been provided by the section itself. And 11 USA, if you are getting the valuation, the subscription from the resident, then either book value of shares, of course, or DCF, valuation by DCF method from a merchant banker. And if you have got a fund from the venture capital fund, for example, you know, if you are getting the subscription of the venture capital fund, that is exempt. जिस वैल्यूएशन पे आपको वीसी फंड से पैसा मिला, अगर विद इन 90 डेज आपको पैसा दूसरे से मिलता है तो उस वैल्यूएशन को भी एक्सेप्ट कर लिया जाएगा।
Okay.
और अगर आपको नॉन रेजिडेंट से पैसा मिल रहा है तो इन एडिशन टू दीज 4 रूल्स, दिस हैज बीन अमेंडेड बाय 11 यूए हैज बीन अमेंडेड रिसेंटली। तो इसके लिए अब 5 मेथड आपको और बता दिए कि इन 5 मेथड से आप वैल्यूएशन करवा लीजिए। You can get it from the comparable company multiple method, option pricing method, probability weighted expected return method, milestone analysis method, reparation cost. कहने का मतलब 56 to 7 में आपके पास 5 मेथड ये हो गए। उसके अलावा भी आपको वैल्यूएशन करवाने का और कोई नियम आपको नजर में आता है, to the satisfaction of the assessing officer, you can go for that also.
Okay, fair enough.
And then you have to file a form with the form number 2 with the DPIIT. अगर आपने फॉर्म भी फाइल नहीं किया DPIIT के साथ में, तब आपको 56 to 7B से एक्सेप्शन नहीं मिलेगी स्टार्टअप को। लोग गलती करते हैं उसको फाइल नहीं करते हैं, 80 IAC का एग्जेम्पशन ले लेते हैं फॉर्म 5062, और ये ऑटोमेटिक फॉर्म है, आप इसको भर दीजिए, आप एक डिक्लेरेशन दे दीजिए, आपको एग्जेम्पशन मिल जाती है, बट इट इज मैंडेटरी, यू हैव टू फाइल फॉर्म नंबर 2 विद द DPIIT.
I have seen many cases where startup founder forget to click the option given for form 2. Just they took the DPITT registration and they thought that all exemptions are already granted.
No. You have to file a separate form. Now, as I said, when this amendment was made, where the non-resident also been included in section 56 to 7B, government has come with the notification number 29 2023. और वहां पर एक बड़े मजे की बात यह है कि वहां पर कुछ एंटिटीज गवर्नमेंट फंडेड पूल्ड इन्वेस्टमेंट्स को दिया है इस नोटिफिकेशन में, और 21 डेस्टिनेशन से दिए और बताया है कि वहां से हम आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट आती है, तो दैट आर नॉट बीइंग कवर्ड. लेकिन 3 जो टैक्स हेवन कंट्रीज है उसमें नहीं है, मॉरिशस नहीं है, यूएई नहीं है, नीदरलैंड नहीं है, इसका भी आपको ध्यान रखना है, वो तीनों डेस्टिनेशन इसमें नहीं है. तो अब उसके बाद आपको, और एक और बड़ी इंपॉर्टेंट बात है, लोग जनरली सवाल पूछते हैं कि अगर आपने मान लीजिए डिस्काउंटेड कैश फ्लो मेथड से वैल्यूएशन करवा ली और असेसिंग ऑफिसर कहता है कि नहीं मैं सेटिस्फाइड नहीं हूं, मैं इसको नहीं मानता हूं, प्लेथरा ऑफ डिसीजंस आर देयर कि अगर आपने साइंटिफिक बेसिस शो किया है, इफ यू कैन प्रूव कि माय प्रोजेक्शंस आर राइट, माय बेसिस आर राइट, माय मल्टीपल्स आर राइट, आपके पास में रिजल्ट्स वैसे आए ना आए उससे कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. असेसिंग ऑफिसर कैन नॉट चेंज द मेथड ऑफ वैल्यूएशन unless and until you prove to the satisfaction कि हाँ जो मैंने लिया है डाटा वो सही है. Any question on this, sir?
No, sir. No, sir. Sir, can you just throw light here itself the importance of valuation in case of if the round is CCD or bridge funding?
नहीं, अब आपको अगर सीसीडी में फंडिंग करनी है, अगर आपको कन्वर्टिबल डिवेंचर्स भी करना है, तो आपको यही रूल्स को लेना पड़ेगा, आपको मर्चेंट बैंकर से वैल्यूएशन करना.
Okay.
So as I said, for 50 capital CA and 56 to 10, if there is a transfer of shares, as you know, in 56 to 10, if the any assets is being transferred less than the fair market value, it is being taxable in the hand of the recipient. And similarly, counterpart is 50 capital CA. One more thing, in valuation rule, now this safe harbor of 10% has been given. कि 10% तक का अगर valuation में फर्क है, तो that will be taken care of. But again, in 50 capital CA, the 10% rule is not applicable. वो 10% safe harbor नहीं है. आपको 11 UA के हिसाब से valuation करनी है for 50 CA and 56 to 10. Now coming to section 79, carry forward of loss. एक तो आज ये connection. As you know, section 79, this is regarding carry forward of loss in case of closely held company. As all we know, if 51% shares are not being held, beneficially held by the same shareholders, then the losses cannot be carried forward. For example, in year A, when the loss incurred and when you are setting off the loss, and the 51% shareholding is not the same, then loss cannot be set off and adjusted. But for startups, they have given an exemption, a deduction. An exemption has been given thereof, and they have said, number one, earlier it was the period of 7 years. Now this has been increased to 7 to 10 years. अब 10 साल तक का आप लॉस इसको date from the date of incorporation. Secondly, either of the two conditions you fulfill, either the shareholders holds those shares. मतलब you can bring a fresh issue of shares. Your shareholding may be less than 51%. Even then, in case of eligible startup, you can get the benefit of setup and carry forward of losses, and or you hold 51% of the holding, beneficially held by the shareholders. So both of the conditions, either of the condition in case of eligible startup, you can get the benefit. Sir, do
Any
we have any
specific reference of year for loss, sir, actually? As a depreciation, accumulated depreciation, or it is just lost? Can you elaborate more on the loss part?
No, I couldn't get you, sir.
So I just mean to say, suppose there is a just depreciation loss, even the same
The
principle is
depreciation loss
applicable
can be carried forward to any time. No?
anytime.
I think these are the 4 areas where startup gets the benefit. If we have any questions on this or any other topic, we can discuss, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chat box में questions है कोई?
Sir, few questions are actually I just wanted to discuss with you. Okay. First of all, thank you, sir. Very you have just covered the whole topic and all the minute aspects which are quite important. In fact, and many of the time it is overlooked by the not only the fraternity, the founders. So, chartered accountant have started playing a dual role of giving consultancy to founders, startup founders. Now even CSR. Actually, like I'm a chartered accountant, I'm a co-founder of a startup, True Scholar, which is in blockchain world. So similarly, many of our professional colleagues are also venturing into new startups where your inputs and guidance will help them to plan in a very systematic way, because tax planning is something where it is very relevant for cash flow management as well as reducing your tax liability in the legal by following the legal what we can say is the binding which the government has set. So the first question, sir, here is the turnover threshold of 100 CR. How we calculate in the course of business where there is GMV concept, gross merchandise value, and the net income is something different, but the gross merchandise transaction value is something very big, and that can be even 200 CR, but the net revenue out of this whole transaction is maybe just 20 CR. So what will be the amount taken while calculating the 100 CR?
सर देखिए, जो अगर आप जिस पे वैल्यूएशन पे आप टर्नओवर को ले रहे हैं आप अपनी ग्रॉस टर्नओवर को, that will be value ना सर. So it will depend on the method of accounting you are following.
Method of accounting. In startup, many times during the course of pitching and other case.
Can you give me the example कि आप क्या पूछना चाह रहे हैं?
सर होता क्या है, बहुत बार ट्रांजैक्शन वैल्यू, सपोज आई एम इनटू डू सम लाइक एन एग्रीगेटर मॉडल, my business is just getting the share out of this business, something a cut or a commission or a referral fee, but the gross merchandise value can be a 100 rupees and my income is just
अपनी
5
बुक्स में कौन सी वैल्यू ले रहा हूँ टर्नओवर की?
I'm asking, a question came in the group, that's what I'm asking.
मैं वही बता रहा हूँ सर, जो आप अपनी बुक्स में वैल्यू ले रहे हैं टर्नओवर की, वही वैल्यू होगी.
वही वैल्यू. Sir, one more question. Can you throw light on the bridge funding? Bridge funding, where discounting factor is being many times given by the startups to the investors at some discounting rate. Suppose the next funding round happens in 6 months or between 6 to 12 months and after 12 to 18 months. So there are
better if we ask any question on the taxation aspect.
Okay. No, so the reason I think they are asked is regarding how we take care of this valuation part in this case actually. Okay. Because many of the time in bridge funding the valuation is not taken by the merchant banker. Okay.
Sir, I'm not aware of this funding actually.
Okay. Sir, of late,
Can actually,
yes,
please.
sir. Of late, we have seen many of the ventures are switching from India to US for some tax compliances. Can you throw light on this regarding this? There is some specific requirements from like take an example from Y Combinator that the company should be formed or established in US, and an Indian company which is already registered in DPIT, they do the switching part from India to US. So
So now they are doing business from US company or from Indian company?
no,
It will be entirely different scenario, sir.
Okay.
देखिए आप ये समझिए कि आपकी एक इंडिया में कंपनी है, अब
जी।
आपने उसकी होल्डिंग कंपनी वहां पे बनाई यूएस में या डिफरेंट कंपनी बना ली आपने, तो ऑफ कोर्स आपको जो रूल्स लगेंगे वो तो आपको इंडियन कंपनी के लगेंगे ना।
तो यहाँ पे सर सवाल ऐसा है कि एक इंडियन कंपनी में इन्वेस्टर ने फंड्स पार्क किए एज अ एंजल इन्वेस्टर. The question is with respect to the investor side. Now the company is switching their base, operational base from India to US. So what will be the tax complication if whatever the exit amount they are getting in this situation?
I couldn't get your question, sir. आपने इंडियन कंपनी में पैसा लगा दिया इंडिया में?
Yes, इंडियन कंपनी में लगाया. अब वो इंडियन कंपनी सर क्या हो रहा है? It is a startup registered under DPIT. All other compliances already been done. Now there was a specific requirement from a fund house or VC that you need to switch the establishment's place from India to US. Okay. So now our existing investor is getting an exit at 2x. Okay.
सर देखिए, आपने अगर इंडिया में मान लीजिए आपको 2x से आपको इन्वेस्टमेंट से रिटर्न्स आ गया, तो आपको इंडिया में कैपिटल गेन देना उसके ऊपर तो.
Okay, one situation. And second situation is, sir, the existing investor is getting now shares in the US company. So the question specifically asked here is, what will be the date of acquisition for me while calculating the capital gain?
No, you are being allotted share of the US company in lieu of these shares?
Yes, new company. Yes. Exactly, sir.
What is the valuation? At what value you are getting those shares?
Generally, sir, we have seen that it has not been elaborated much.
And US company is a different entity?
Yes, sir. They have formed a new entity in US.
Okay.
But in lieu of the existing holding, they have been allotted shares, and that too again as a advisory shares, like a sweat equity in pattern.
I have to check it, sir. I have to check.
I will revert, sir.
I will get back to you because apparently what it looks you are getting the shares in exchange of these shares. Okay. And
yes,
and for all practical purposes, exchange is a transfer. So capital gain liability will arise in India because the scientist is in India, if I am not wrong.
Okay.
So if you give me a more specific question, then it will be better for me, sir.
Okay. I will try to get the detailed one from the question who is asking member, and will forward you, sir.
My connections is not stable actually. I am getting a lot of problems.
Again, sir, there is a question for this interministerial group approval. People are facing challenges to get the approval. So members are asking how well we can plan to get this approval so that lot of things can be sorted out. If we can just elaborate and guide in that aspect, that is actually very critical for many of the organizations recently. And why it is also taking a good, the time is also taken actually substantial in case of giving the permission. And many of the times it is seen that startups are not aware of where the case is pending.
Because this meeting doesn't held every time, and there are 3 ministries involved: Ministry of Commerce, Ministry of Finance, and DPIT Secretary. So it takes a lot of time to them to meet, number one. And number two, as I said during my webinar also, that what we are getting the feedback that the pitch deck, the presentation is not as per the standard, as good. It doesn't correlate with your actual working. आपकी जो एक्चुअल वर्किंग है, जो आपके फाइनेंशियल्स हैं, जो आपकी प्रेजेंटेशंस हैं, वो जनरली मिसमैच होती हैं, आपके आइडियाज और आपकी वर्किंग से मिसमैच होते हैं. ये दीज आर द फीडबैक फ्रॉम DPIIT. तो इसलिए आप अपना जो आपका आइडिया है, जो आपकी प्रेजेंटेशन है और जो आपके रिजल्ट्स हैं, वो आप आपस में मिला लीजिए. देखिए, जितने वैल्यूएशन में भी इशू आ रहे हैं, जितने भी इश्यूज DCF मेथड को लेकर भी आए हैं, जनरली डिपार्टमेंट क्या कहता है? डिपार्टमेंट कहता है साहब आपके रिजल्ट्स कुछ हैं और आपकी DCF वैल्यूएशन कुछ है, यही, और इसलिए वो रिजेक्ट कर देते हैं उसको, या उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं करते हैं, या उसको टैक्स कर देते हैं. तो मैंने बताया कि अगर आपका साइंटिफिक मेथड से आपके पैरामीटर्स ठीक है, तो फिर आपको वैल्यूएशन वो मिल जाएगी. ऐसे सिमिलरली DPIIT में आपका जो आइडिया है, जो पिच डेक आपकी है, जो आपकी प्रेजेंटेशन है और जो आपके एक्चुअल रिजल्ट्स आ रहे हैं, इसीलिए आजकल क्या कर रहे हैं ATIC में कि आपको तुरंत अप्लाई नहीं करवा रहे हैं. वो कहते हैं कि आप वेट फॉर अ ईयर, गिव सम रिजल्ट्स एंड देन अप्लाई, देन कम टू अस, वी विल गिव यू. और लोग करते हैं कि तुरंत उसको अप्लाई कर देते हैं पहले साल में, तो जनरली दे आर गेटिंग इट. तो इसलिए जब इसको बनाएं तो तीनों चीजों को आप कम्युनिकेट कर दें, आपस में मिलाएं उनको, तो यू विल गेट द रजिस्ट्रेशन. और इट्स ऑनलाइन प्रोसेस है, आपको ऑटोमेटिकली मिल जाता है. हाँ, यू आर गेटिंग डिलेड, लेट आ रहे हैं, कम आ रहे हैं. जैसे मैंने बताया थी 1200-1300 को मिला अभी तक, तो ये थोड़ा सा इश्यू है.
तो सर मैं इसको समराइज, मतलब ये पॉइंट को बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट, हम इसको थोड़ा समराइज अगर करें ये स्पेसिफिक पॉइंट को, कि ATIC के हिसाब से जो आपने कहा कि फर्स्ट और सेकंड ईयर में बहुत बार हम लोगों ने नहीं करना चाहिए, बिकॉज हम लोगों का स्केलेबिलिटी और ग्रोथ और इनोवेशन प्रूव नहीं हुआ है. तो देयर इज ऑलवेज अ कंसर्न बाय द डिपार्टमेंट. सेकंड इज प्रॉपर ड्राफ्टिंग के साथ में हमने एप्लीकेशन लॉन्च करनी चाहिए ताकि उसका रिव्यू मैकेनिज्म सही हो. मेनी टाइम स्टार्टअप फेल टू सबमिट द डिटेल इंफॉर्मेशन व्हाई वी आर एलिजिबल फॉर दिस एग्जामिशन. सर इसका और एक यहाँ पे कंक्लूजन निकलता है कि शायद हमें इनकम टैक्स एग्जाम्पशन ATIC के हिसाब से वेल प्लान करना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं कि अगले साल मुझे प्रॉफिट आ रहा है एंड जस्ट आई एम ट्राइंग टू फाइल द एप्लीकेशन जस्ट 3 months बिफोर दैट फाइनेंशियल ईयर एंडिंग. इट विल बी क्वाइट रिस्की. सो if the founder is able to forecast what he or she is getting in the near future in a span of maybe 3 to 5 years, because आपने एक बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पॉइंट कहा है कि 3 consecutive year आपको कोई भी 3 साल सिलेक्ट एक साथ करना है. तो नीदर इट शुड बी टू अर्ली, नीदर शुड बी टू लेट. पता चला तो आपका वो बजटिंग फोरकास्टिंग बहुत स्ट्रांग होना चाहिए.
वही आपकी प्लानिंग का पार्ट है कि आपको देखना है कि मेरे को कब वो 3 बेस्ट ईयर है जहां मैं उसको प्लान कर सकता हूँ.
पता चला कि हमने बहुत लेट किया और लेकिन एट दैट मोमेंट मेरा प्रॉफिट आ रहा है, लेकिन मैं ऑलरेडी क्रॉस 100 CR टर्नओवर, सो मैं वो अप्लीकेबल नॉर्म से बाहर हो गया. So I will not be eligible to take the income tax exemption because I already crossed the turnover of 100 CR. तो ये सारी कंडीशन को ध्यान में रखना मेरे ख्याल से बहुत ज्यादा जरूरी है, एंड सभी कंसल्टेंट और फाउंडर्स के लिए भी बहुत ये इंपॉर्टेंट है. सर एक अभी बहुत देखा गया है रिसेंटली व्हाट वी सी इन द स्टार्टअप वर्ल्ड. सपोज देयर इज अ राउंड एट maybe at 100 CR valuation, there is a fundraising by the founder, and after some time, maybe after 2 years, the next funding happen at 50% discount with the respect to the previous round. Suppose 50 CR पे हो गया, okay? तो हमारे जो previous investor है, whether there is a query in the mind कि whether they can claim this loss, capital loss, as fair market value is the new fair market value, or the valuation is 50% of my previous. What is your comment on this, sir?
Very very important question. देखिए सर, मैं आपको एक बात बताता हूँ. अगर सेक्शन 45 को आप पढ़ते हैं ना, तो 45 में क्या लिखा हुआ है? 45 में लिखा है एनी प्रॉफिट और गेन्स अराइजिंग फ्रॉम ट्रांसफर ऑफ ए कैपिटल एसेट. ठीक है. अब ट्रांसफर की डेफिनेशन में क्या है? ट्रांसफर की डेफिनेशन है कि सेल, एक्सचेंज, relinquishment और extinguishment of right therein. अगर ट्रांसफर नहीं है तो कैपिटल गेन नहीं हो सकता. कैपिटल गेन नहीं हो सकता, कैपिटल लॉस भी नहीं हो सकता. आपके पास 3 कंडीशन आपको पूरी करनी है. नंबर 1, इट हैज टू बी अ कैपिटल एसेट, देयर हैज टू बी ए ट्रांसफर, एंड ट्रांसफर हैज अकर्ड इन द प्रीवियस ईयर. अगर तीनों में से एक कंडीशन भी पूरी नहीं हुई तो आप उसको कैपिटल गेन या कैपिटल लॉस क्लेम नहीं कर सकते. आपके पास भाई 5 करोड़ का शेयर है, वो 1 करोड़ रह गया लेकिन ट्रांसफर नहीं है, और आपको पता होगा बहुत सारे केस में दीवान हाउसिंग फाइनेंस में हुआ, शेयर्स की वैल्यू ₹1 रह गई, तो लोगों के पास में वर्चुअली जब तक एक्सटिंग्विशमेंट ऑफ राइट नहीं होगा, जब तक आप वो शेयर ट्रांसफर नहीं करेंगे, आप कैपिटल लॉस भी क्लेम नहीं कर सकते हैं।
ओके ओके
ट्रांसफर नहीं है, आपकी वैल्यूएशन 100 करोड़ से 5 करोड़ रह गई है, 95 करोड़ का लॉस आप बुक नहीं कर सकते हैं इनकम टैक्स में। हाँ ठीक है, अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड में आप अपनी बुक्स की वैल्यूएशन में उसका प्रोविजन कर सकते हैं जो आपका अकाउंटिंग स्टैंडर्ड कहता है, लेकिन इनकम टैक्स एक्ट में न्यूट पॉइंट है वेदर देयर इज ए ट्रांसफर। If there is no transfer, there cannot be a capital gain or capital loss.
ओके थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू फॉर डिटेल एक्सप्लेनेशन विच यू गिवन। और मेरे ख्याल से काफी मेंबर्स इससे सेटिस्फाइड होंगे कि किस तरह की स्ट्रेटेजी रख सकते हैं। सर नाउ व्हाट वी कैन सी इज चार्टर्ड अकाउंटेंट आल्सो प्ले अ गुड रोल इन investing in startups. Okay, either they themselves do or they sometimes guide to their clients to invest in few ventures where they recommend. Sometimes they play a very facilitator role in this ecosystem. Sir इसमें एक आपसे ओपिनियन चाहिए। जस्ट लेट मी रिव्यू द क्वेरी। Exit planning, sir, it is, we know that 90% of the startup fail. Okay, we know this because of the experience, the risk, whatever they are taking, and n number of reasons are there for the failure. So rather than commenting on the reason of failure, how best we can plan the exit? In tax planning can be done in exit also. So can you give some inputs or some mantras where for the startup also how better we can plan the exit formalities, and as an investor what we can recommend to the investors or angel investor where they can communicate to the founders that this should be the steps or procedure should be followed for better exit formalities to reduce the tax burden or whatever you can say.
Okay. There are two parts in this question. Number one, of course, strategic planning, कि जहाँ पे फाइनेंस इन्वॉल्व है आपका, कि आपको कब एग्जिट करना है, कब एंटर करना है, किस वैल्यूएशन पे करना है, किस वैल्यूएशन पे एग्जिट करना है, तो उसका कैश फ्लो से बेटर। सेकंड पार्ट इज द टैक्सेशन प्लानिंग, कि हाउ यू कैन प्लान योर टैक्सेस बेटर. ओके, you know there is a concept of loss harvesting in capital gain. And what is that loss harvesting? You know कि आपको कैपिटल गेन में बड़ी पेक्यूलियर चीजें हैं. कैसे हैं? आप कैपिटल लॉस को कैरी फॉरवर्ड कर सकते हैं, आप शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल लॉस को लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन से एडजस्ट कर सकते हैं, शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल लॉस को कैपिटल से कर सकते हैं, रिवर्स इज नॉट पॉसिबल. लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल लॉस कैन नॉट बी एडजस्टेड शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन. ठीक है सर? तो आपको प्लानिंग किस तरह से करनी है, आपको बाकी कहाँ पे लॉसेज, आपका जो जितना भी पूरा पोर्टफोलियो है, आप एटलीस्ट उसको प्लान कर सकते हैं कि मुझे किस हिसाब से लॉस को मैनेज करना है. आपने मेरे कब कैपिटल गेन्स मेरे राइज हो रहे हैं, या मैं किसी शेयर्स में मान लीजिए मेरे कैपिटल गेन आ रहा है, तो मैं उसको कैसे लॉस को कब बुक करूं. लेकिन आपको ये देखना पड़ेगा कि जो मैंने बताया कि ट्रांसफर की डेफिनेशन जरूर रहना चाहिए, और ट्रांसफर की डेफिनेशन में नहीं आएगा तो आपको कैपिटल गेन या कैपिटल लॉस का बेनिफिट नहीं मिलेगा. दूसरी बात, आपको एक बात याद रखनी है कि अगर आपने मान लीजिए उस शेयर्स को ट्रांसफर किया, तो आपको कैपिटल 50 कैपिटल सीए और 5610 का भी ध्यान में रखना पड़ेगा, कि कहीं ऐसा ना हो कि आप वहां पे जाके वहां पे आप एंटर ना कर जाए. तो ये आपको पूरी प्लानिंग अपने पोर्टफोलियो के साथ करनी पड़ेगी सर. यू हैव टू प्लान अकॉर्डिंगली, कीपिंग इन व्यू द रूल्स फॉर द सेट ऑफ एंड कैरी फॉरवर्ड ऑफ लॉसेस.
Okay, thank you sir. So very valid point that we need to understand the fundamental principle of transfer before booking any loss or adjusting it. Okay, unless that is justified, we cannot do it. Sir, form 2 के बारे में कुछ query है members की. People are asking, can you elaborate more about form 2?
So form 2 is for 5627B declaration, simple form,
And I think it's simple declaration, nothing.
it's a simple declaration. And while filing your return of income in form 16, ITR 6, I think, again you have to declare the same you have to declare that I am not invested in these things. तो आपको ये ध्यान रखना है सर कि 56(2)(10 is a simple declaration कि I will not invest in the prohibited assets.
Yes.
और आपको ये ध्यान रखना है कि प्रोहिबिटेड एसेट्स की जो लिस्ट है वो भी सिंपल है. मतलब देखिए, अगर हम इसको आम भाषा में समझेंगे ना, डाइवर्जन ऑफ फंड्स नहीं होना चाहिए. वो कहते हैं कि जिसके लिए आपने पैसा लिया आप अपने बिजनेस में लगाइए. आप रेजिडेंशियल हाउस में पैसा ही लगा सकते हैं, अगर रेंटिंग के लिए है या आपके स्टॉक इन ट्रेड के लिए तो वो अलग बात है. मतलब कहने वाला रेजिडेंशियल हाउस, कमर्शियल हाउस, एडवांसेस, कैपिटल कंट्रीब्यूशन, शेयर्स एंड सिक्योरिटीज, मोटर व्हीकल, तो आपको एक सिंपल डिक्लेरेशन देनी है और डिक्लेरेशन आपके काम आती है. और इसलिए प्रोविजन कर दिया 56(2)(7) में इटसेल्फ कि अगर आपने इसको वायलेट कर दिया तो फिर 270 कैपिटल ए में मिस रिपोर्टिंग की पेनल्टी आपको लगा देंगे 200.
ओके.
और ऑटोमेटिक परमिशन आती है वहां से, उसके लिए कुछ भी नहीं करना होता 56(7).
हाँ, ये एक बहुत फास्टेस्ट परमिशन है जो डिपार्टमेंट
Fastest
देता है. I have seen it just in a very quick, maybe in a week time we get the approval also from the authorities. Appreciate.
एक लोगों की और क्वेरी मेरे पास अभी आई है. मैंने फिर बताया कि लोग वो पूछ रहे हैं कि क्या 127 जो सर्कुलर है, ये एंजल टैक्स वाला, इसमें नॉन रेजिडेंट को हटाया कि नहीं हटाया. मयूर जी, इफ आई एम नॉट रॉन्ग, वहां पर नॉन रेजिडेंट से अभी भी एग्जम्पशन है. 25 करोड़ वाली जो लिमिट है,
ओके.
25 करोड़ वाली जो लिमिट है उसमें नॉन रेजिडेंट इज नॉट एक्सक्लूडेड. दे आर देयर इटसेल्फ. अरे यहाँ से पैसा आएगा तो स्टार्टअप को उसके लिए नहीं आपको लगेगा. ये जो जनरल प्रिंसिपल जो फॉलो करना है आपको, जहां पर नॉन रेजिडेंट के साथ में जो नया सर्कुलर आया 29 नंबर सर्कुलर 26 मई को, वहां पर आपको बताया कि नॉन रेजिडेंट से अगर ये आ गया तो एग्जेम्प्ट है, अदरवाइज मतलब इस वैल्यूएशन मेथड से आपको लाना है उसको.
ओके. एक रूटीन सवाल है जो पर आपने जवाब दे दिया है सर. हाउ मेनी मंथ्स इट टेक फॉर ऑब्टेनिंग टैक्स एग्जेम्पशन अप्रूवल अंडर ATIC? सो
नो टाइम लिमिट, 6 months to 1 year.
6 months to 1 year. But better proper submission and planning can expedite the whole process. Otherwise,
yeah. If you are giving, नहीं, I have seen in practical life कि अगर आपने तीनों चीजों मैंने बताई है आपको, एक्चुअल आपका पिच डेक, आपका बिजनेस प्लान और आइडिया और आपकी फैक्ट्स एंड फिगर्स मैच करती हैं तो आप बहुत जल्दी आ जाता है.
sir, one question asked for ATIC registration in case of new units, how to enclose 3 years balance sheet, ITR, any other option? I'm not getting.
नहीं, if the 3-year results are available, file 3-year results. If they are not available, file the results available 1 year, 2 year.
Okay.
But they are not promoting कि आप you come after 1 year or 2 year, or if you have started the good business in the first year itself, then come the next year.
Okay, so there is no such mandatory clause that you, because we can even
No,
apply in the
it's not
first year.
mandatory. No, it's not
First year
mandatory.
itself. First year. Sir, now many of the investors have started investing through AIF, actually alternative investment fund option, which has been created by many fund houses and VCs. So any precaution as a startup founder we need to take while raising funds from them, considering the all other valuation part and tax?
AIF are well covered in the class of persons. तो इसलिए वहां पर वो वैल्यूएशन के इश्यूज नहीं आते हैं, टैक्स के इशू नहीं आते हैं. बाकी तो आपको अपनी वैल्यूएशन करनी है. और मैं एक बात हमेशा कहता हूँ स्टार्टअप्स को ना, मतलब जनरल एक टॉक में कहता हूँ जो मेरा अपना एक्सपीरियंस है, वी आर एक्चुअली रनिंग फॉर वैल्यूएशन ओनली. आई थिंक समटाइम आई सी वैल्यूएशन के चक्कर में हम भागते हैं, और वही क्या होता है कि इसीलिए 90% शायद स्टार्टअप फेल हो रहे हैं. हमने एक जो ऑरा क्रिएट कर लिया, एक जो वॉल्यूम जो पिक्चर क्रिएट कर ली, रोजी पिक्चर की, एवरीथिंग इज रोजी, एवरीथिंग इज गुड, एवरीथिंग, ये तो ये गलत है. आप यू क्रिएट सब्सटेंस एंड हैव सम कंजर्वेटिव, जो हम जब CA 90s में करते थे, जो कंजर्वेटिव अप्रोच थी कि आपको उस पे डाटा को आपको बनाना है, आपको रिस्क फैक्टर्स को भी काउंट करना है. आपको मतलब क्या लग रहा है कि ये पैसा, हमें लगता है कि वैल्यूएशन इतना आ गया, इतना पैसा आ गया, और हमारे इस पे कुछ लगा नहीं हुआ है, तो कोई बात नहीं, रिस्क टेकिंग। तो रिस्क जो टेकिंग कैपेसिटी है, रिस्क जो है ना, वो भी आपको कैलकुलेट लेना चाहिए मेरे हिसाब से, अदरवाइज इट विल ब्रिंग ए बैड नेम टू द स्टार्टअप इंडस्ट्री। अगर आप 100 में से 90 फेल हो रहे हैं तो सीए का एग्जाम हो जाएगा ये तो, कि जहाँ पर 90% लोग फेल होते हैं। तो वी शुड नॉट क्रिएट सच काइंड ऑफ पिक्चर। मतलब टू द यंगस्टर्स इज माय एडवाइस, प्लीज बी केयरफुल, please prepare valid document, please have the data. Chartered accountant are the best person who can advise you how, what approach you should take for the projections. मतलब the projections should be real projections. मतलब and जैसे हम स्टैंडर्ड कॉस्टिंग और पढ़ते थे, या हम जो डेविएशंस हम देखते थे, हमें वो भी देखना चाहिए कि क्या मैं उसको अचीव कर पा रहा हूँ, नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ। अगर नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ तो मेरे को खाली वैल्यूएशन के लिए हमें डीसीएफ मेथड अपना लेना है, या खाली वैल्यूएशन के लिए हमें कोई भी मेथड से वैल्यूएशन कर देनी है, येन केन प्रकरण जो हम कहते हैं, बाय एनी मींस। वी शुड नॉट गो बिहाइंड द वैल्यूएशन ओनली, वी शुड गो बिहाइंड द आइडिया, its substance, its real happening there, real execution there. I think that will be a good journey. और ये थोड़ा सा इसमें हमें एक बार ना इंट्रोस्पेक्ट करने की जरूरत भी है कि why 9 out of 10 are getting failed. So that is the area is to be seen.
So nice sir, actually you said a very valid point कि हम लोगों ने fundamentals को ignore नहीं करना है, we are hurrying more behind the valuation part and not taking the core aspect of profitability, the business aspect, rather than we should focus on the profitability and business and how well we can just run the show in a better way of doing a real business rather than just focusing on the valuation part and the things the I think उसका इम्पैक्ट और उसका जो रिजल्ट्स अपने आप आ जाएगा, अच्छा वैल्यूएशन अपने आप मिल जाएगा।
एक मेरे पास क्वेरी है, लोगों पूछ रहे हैं कि टैक्स प्लानिंग में विच इज बेटर, एलएलपी और कंपनी, विच वे वी
प्राइवेट लिमिटेड इज
कंपनी। और देखिए जनरली क्या होता है सर कि आपको 2-3 बातें आपको इसमें ध्यान रखनी है। ऑफ कोर्स अगर आप एलएलपी हैं तो ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस में बहुत सारे बेनिफिट्स आपको हैं। जहां तक टैक्स का सवाल है, अगर मैं बात करता हूँ कि डायरेक्टर रेम्युनरेशन को निकाल दीजिए तो 30% के बाद में टैक्स नहीं है, वहां पे ऑफकोर्स डबल टैक्सेशन है, लेकिन अगेन यू हैव टू प्लान कि आप कितना री इन्वेस्ट करने जा रहे हैं, आप कितना पैसा, अगर आप नई मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट में कवर है, पंजाब वाले टैक्स रिजीम में कवर है, और आप कितना डिविडेंड आप देने जा रहे हैं या कितना री इन्वेस्ट करने जा रहे हैं, आपका कैश फ्लो जो आपने मेरे शुरू में कहा था कि आपका कैश फ्लोज किया फॉर द नेक्स्ट 10 years, यू हैव टू मेंटेन दैट। कई इश्यूज आते हैं जहां पर of course in case of closely held companies, private companies, there are so many provisions which are being applicable and one of them is deemed dividend. If you diverted money, तो deemed dividend के issues वहां पर आ जाते हैं, वो आपको टेकन केयर ऑफ करने हैं। तो आपको when you start your business, तो मेरे हिसाब से नेक्स्ट 10 ईयर की प्लानिंग आपको टैक्स की भी कर लेनी चाहिए कि मेरे को टैक्सेस और मेरे कैश फ्लोज कैसे रहने वाले हैं। For small businesses, if you are not going to public, you are not going for the investment, then LLP is a better option to have the business. Otherwise, of course, you can have a closely held company.
Okay, sir. Sir, few more questions. Last 2-3 questions, sir, just okay.
Please.
One question is, I just reiterating the question. We are a startup. We are yet to reach profitability. We expect to become profitable after setting off accumulated losses after 3 years. Should we wait for 3 years to get the exemption certificate or can we apply now?
No, you can apply now. Please understand. आप अप्लाई कर दीजिए, उसको जरूरी नहीं है कि आपको जिस साल से मिल गया आपको एग्जम्पशन भी क्लेम करनी है ना। You got the certificate in 2024. You can start your exemption from 27. No, there is no bar, but you get it first.
Great. Second question is, for valuation other than mentioned in section, to the satisfaction of AO,
Yeah.
what is there is written to the satisfaction of AO, what is the process of getting satisfaction from AO?
It all depends on your wisdom, I think.
Understanding.
There are so many ways to satisfy the assessing officer. But I think this caveat, this extra thing has been given. Reason being, in 11 UA there were only two methods, either the book value method or the discounted cash flow method. Of course, there were no third method was prescribed earlier. इसलिए इसको दे दिया था सेक्शन में कि आप इसके अलावा भी आपको कोई और मेथड लगता है जहां पे आप मतलब to your satisfaction, not if you are satisfied, of course AO will also be satisfied, but it should be practical. It should be practical approach. तो अगर आप मर्चेंट बैंकर से वैल्यूएशन करवा लें अपने हिसाब से और आपको लेकिन सेक्शन में दिया हुआ है कि टू द एक्सटेंट कीपिंग योर असेट्स योर गुडविल योर इंटेंजिबल्स योर टेंजिबल्स यू गेट ए प्रैक्टिकल वैल्यूएशन देयर तो वो भी उसको मान लेगा.
Okay. Sir, I think I should conclude this with this last question. Very interesting, I think so. There are two startups. One is failing, but there is a good amount of accumulated losses in the venture. And the second startup is acquiring the loss-making venture of startup. Whether the startup which is acquiring the loss-making venture will be eligible for the carry forward of the losses of the acquired side.
No.
Can you elaborate, sir?
You send me a mail, I will give a detailed reply to that. Okay. Please ask
great.
who has asked the question to send me a mail at csunilkegar@gmail.com. I will reply.
So nice, sir.
There are so many issues. I will reply.
Okay, okay. I think, sir, we'll stop here. It's fantastic. I think really appreciate the way you handled all our queries in the startup domain, and your depth of the knowledge regarding this whole subject of taxation is, we are blessed with your experience and knowledge which you have shared with us right now, and all the members are happy to get the first hand information about the nitty-gritty of the compliance part. You covered everything regarding the registration, angel taxation, ESOP compliances, how better we can do the ESOP compliance part by way of planning it in a very systematic way. Your suggestions regarding ATIC is also well known, that how we should well plan and do a proper documentation so that it should get a proper feedback from the authorities rather than just rushing to the department for by way of application and no proper compliance or preparation of the work required, which is for the certificate allotment. And I think, sir, you already answered more or less all the queries. Members will be happy, and request members to can directly communicate. Sir has already shared. Sir, if you can just note down your mobile number or email ID in the chat box, that will be nice, so that
Okay.
member can.
Chat box का yeah chat.
You, in fact, all many of the members attendees know you very well, sir. They can connect you anytime, but
Chat. You can please you write na. I'm giving you my mobile number is 9811015509.
98110.
15509.
Okay, sir. I will just.
And email ID is casunilkegarg@gmail.com. Yeah, right.
I think with this we should stop here. I'm very thankful to the initiative taken by the Committee of MSME and Startup, led by respected C. Dheeraj Khandelwalji, the chairman of the committee, and vice chairman C. Raj Chawla sir, for initial welcome remarks given by already in the start of the session, and the great initiative taken by the committee for covering all the important aspects related to the MSME and startup. And definitely tax planning is very crucial for all the financial advisor, chartered accountant, and even the young entrepreneurs or CAs who are aspirant to become founders of the new startup by playing multiple roles as an advisor, consultant, or even founder. So this session will have a great impact on proper planning, tax planning, and compliances for the startup and MSME. Thank you, sir. Over to the tech team, committee team. Anything I have left out? You are on mute, sir. Please unmute yourself. Any closing remarks, sir? Sunil, sir?
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mayur bhai. And thanks, committee, for giving me the opportunity. Sorry, my connections were not stable today.
No
Okay.
problem, sir.
So I got a very good query. तो 3-4 मिनट और हम लेते हैं इसको भी.
हाँ प्लीज सर.
हाँ.
हमारे पास है 5 मिनट है सर.
5 मिनट है ना, तो 5 मिनट में एक फूड फॉर थॉट देता हूँ सबको, और मुझे आप रिप्लाई करना कि ये क्या होगा या नहीं होगा. मैं केस स्टडी बता रहा हूँ, मेरे पास ये कल आई थी, तो मैं उस केस स्टडी को डिस्कस करता हूँ. म्यूर
जी सर बताइए.
मेरी जो एलएलपी फर्म, ओके, एलएलपी फर्म ने कन्वर्ट किया प्राइवेट लिमिटेड कंपनी में मार्च 2024 में. अप्रैल 2024 में उस कंपनी को टेक ओवर कर लिया, उससे सारे शेयर्स को टेक ओवर कर लिया, एंड देयर वाज ए प्रीमियम ऑफ ₹10 करोड़. मतलब 1 करोड़ के शेयर 10 करोड़ में परचेज कर लिए. 1 करोड़ की कैपिटल थी एलएलपी की, 1 करोड़ के शेयर दे दिए कंपनी को, और उसके बाद में 10 करोड़ रुपए में उसको टेक ओवर कर लिया. ठीक है. नाउ द क्वेश्चन अराइजेज कि जो शेयर है वो शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन होगा या लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन होगा. जबकि एलएलपी इट वाज 5 इयर्स ओल्ड कंपनी जिसके बदले शेयर्स मिले थे, तो वेदर इट विल बी अ शॉर्ट टर्म कैपिटल गेन और लॉन्ग टर्म कैपिटल गेन. और सेकेंडली, a very interesting situation can arise in this case. There may be a case of double taxation also. Reason being that when the shareholders who are being allotted share for worth ₹1 crore and selling the share for 10 crore rupees, it will be a short term capital asset in my opinion. Reason being that because shares are being allotted in April, and when the LLP was taken over by the company under section 4713B, you have to comply with certain conditions. And one of the conditions is that all the assets and liability has to be taken over, shares has to be given in the profit ratio, and the shareholding should not be less than 51% for the next 5 years. And if the assessing officer invokes section 47 capital A, then the difference may be taxed in the hand of the company as goodwill. Are you getting my point? So this is for those startups, those companies who are making this tax planning, where there will happen a conversion, and immediately after the conversion, they dilute their shareholder to less than 51%. In that situation, Mayur, it might be the case that double taxation may happen. अब आप कहेंगे डबल टैक्सेशन तो हमारे देश में होता नहीं है.
But the situation is such critical.
पर इस केस में टैक्सेशन डबल इसलिए हो जाएगा, एक टैक्स लग रहा है शेयर होल्डर के हाथ में, दूसरा लग रहा है कंपनी के हाथ में. For the same amount, it can be doubly taxed for the violation of section 47 capital A. It's a very important part of the tax planning. मतलब ये एक ध्यान आपको रखना है, जब भी आप इस तरह के कन्वर्जन्स करते हैं तो आपको उसकी कंडीशंस को भी पूरा करना है 4713B को. ये भी आपको ध्यान रखना.
So thank you for giving this valuable advice. In fact, it's like an icing on the cake to conclude today's session, and so important issues.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Over to you, the ICA.
Thank you, Sunil sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayur sir, for giving your precious time and wonderful session.
So nice. Thanks. Over to you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Good day, sir. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, sir.